big. Your greatest enemy is your nafs, between the two sides of your body. The nafs is the aspect of human consciousness that directs awareness away from Allah Ta'ala, away from the spiritual dimension of the theophany of His names and qualities, and towards the aspect of His creation that are furthest away from Him. Namely, the nafs pulls attention toward the physical world, the mulk, and to preserving above all one's human self in the physical world. Thus, the nafs pursues a course in the opposite direction as that of the heart. Thus, within every human being is a conflict. A conflict between, on the one hand, the pull of the tajalli, the pull of the theophany upon the heart toward the malakut and toward the realm of unity, and on the other hand, the pull of the nafs to the physical world and to the individual self. This conflict produces a tension in every person. Since awareness of the tension between the heart and the nafs threatens the hold of the nafs on itself, the nafs compulsively directs attention away from the tension. It doesn't want the tension to be known, so it directs our awareness away. It tries to direct our awareness away from the tension. As a result, most people are either unaware of this tension, or if they are aware of it, they think about this tension in a manner differently from the way tasawwuf presents it. Instead of seeing the problem, the nafs, instead of seeing the problem as the tension between the heart and the nafs gives rise to the fact that many people conceive of this essential tension as being a mere psychological problem. A problem like boredom, anger, stress, or any one of a number of personal needs or criticisms. This is the game of the nafs. In the awareness of the nafs, there's always something wrong with something. The only problem that the nafs neglects is the tension between itself and the heart. The problem it attends to, the problems the nafs attends to, may in fact be real problems, but underlying them at all times is a greater problem. The tension between the heart and the nafs, underlying what may be a real problem, the nafs is saying, this is what's wrong, this is what you should pay attention to. Underlying this problem is always a greater problem. And this is the tension between the heart and the nafs, which is later referred to as the greater jihad. The nature of any tension is that if it is maintained long enough without being dealt with, humans become desensitized to it and numbed to it. In most cases, the tension between the heart and the nafs has been maintained unconsciously over a lifetime. In most people, this tension between the nafs and the heart is maintained unconsciously their entire life. Hence, the heart is virtually paralyzed and unreceptive to theophanies, unreceptive to tajalliyat. In this regard, Sufis such as Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, rahmatullah alayh, often quoted a purported hadith. Sufis such as Rumi said this: people are asleep, and when they die, they wake up. An-nasu niyam, fa-idha matu intabahu. Sufis, however, are those who have heard of the possibility of waking up before they die. They want to wake up before they die. They don't want to wait until they're dead to be forced to wake up. Consequently, Sufis are those who yearn for spiritual transformation, in which their hearts will awaken, after a lifetime of sleep. Their primary model, whose awakened heart they strive to emulate, whose awakened heart they strive to follow, is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Their primary model is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who even when he was asleep, his heart was awake. We can speak of two dimensions to the spiritual transformation for which the Sufis long: a transformation of consciousness and a transformation in character. In the transformation of consciousness, one becomes aware of the spiritual dimension of the theophanies of the attributes of Allah Ta'ala. In this transformation of consciousness, followers of the path become aware of what is referred to in Surah Yasin as the malakut of all things. They become aware of Allah Ta'ala's tajalliyat, His theophanies in the world and within their consciousnesses, on the horizons and within themselves. And this is referred to in the ayah, سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتِنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ. We will show them our signs on the horizons and within themselves. In undergoing a transformation in character, Sufis acquire certain spiritual characteristics of the Insan al-Kamil, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. They acquire some of the spiritual characteristics of the Insan al-Kamil, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, or even some of the attributes of Allah through fana, or passing away of the attributes of one's nafs. Concerning this transformation, Sufis, including Al-Ghazali, rahmatullah alayh, often quoted the saying that was considered by some to be a hadith Qudsi, تَخَلَّقُوا بِأَخْلَاقِ Allah. Take on the characteristics of Allah. As I have mentioned, the key to waking up, the key to becoming spiritually transformed, is for the heart to voluntarily surrender to Allah Ta'ala. This is impossible at the beginning of the Sufi path, however. It's impossible at the beginning of the Sufi path because the Sufi's heart is paralyzed and numbed, and he or she generally has no awareness of how to surrender. Even though they may have heard about surrender, they don't know how to do it inwardly. So something else is needed to awaken the Sufi's heart. Something else is needed to awaken his or her heart. Some other means is necessary to teach him or her how to surrender. This means, this vehicle, consists of all religious actions, all behavioral norms, and all practices of the Shariah, the Sunnah, and Tasawwuf. All of these can awaken the heart and teach the heart how to surrender. So the means of learning how to surrender inwardly are the outward actions, the religious actions, the behavioral norms, and the practices of the Shariah, the Sunnah, and Tasawwuf. These can awaken the heart and teach the heart how to surrender. And I'll explain how they do it. Muslims who wish to awaken their hearts impose strictures upon themselves. They put restrictions upon themselves. Since the nafs dislikes restrictions, by consciously restricting the nafs through the Sharia,